Good morning, everyone. And I want to start by thanking again the organizers for this good debate and get so because to talk about the very important topic in Africa. So I have titled my paper "People Who Are Coming Home," or not people who are fleeing. And then um, I want to start by going back to some of two key points that Faisal and Dr. Umaru said when he was speaking this morning. So Dr. Umaru asked, what is assistance? And then Dr. Faisal asked, who is a displaced person? And then, so this presentation uses Burkina Faso and the city of Kaya, which is the second largest receiving host region in Burkina Faso, as a case study to kind of ground what is displacement for the people in this region. But you can see that it poses a lot of things that are going on in Africa. So this picture was taken in a camp in Kaya, and in the foreground here you can see some improved stores that some organizations helped IDPs to kind of mitigate the deforestation that was going on in the regions, and I will want back to that. So, why this study? First of all, because as we see, research epistemologies and methodologies are usually skewed to a northern perspective and assumptions, and then European imperialism and colonialism seem inseparable from modern knowledge production. And for Figan and Gaspier, in the field of migration studies, redressing Eurocentric necessitates examining the applicability of classical concepts to the South, filling the gaps in South migration and South-South migration, and engaging critically with geopolitical knowledge production. And in addition to being based on northern concepts, knowledge produced on southern subjects is often from northern scholars. And in the case of Cameroon, for example, Bischoff found that 80% of articles produced on Central Africa are in collaboration with the partner outside the region, first of all, 46% with European partners and 35% with cross-colonial powers. And more specifically on forced migration, most published papers in well-run journals are from research based in the north, although most refugees and forced migrants are related in the south. So continuing in the literature, Magnete and Rahim found in the Journal of Refugee Studies that 92% of publications between 2015 and 2019 were from authors based in the north, while 85% of the world's refugees are in the global south. So the same conclusion was found by the editors of Migration Studies Journal, who argued that most research originates from developed countries, using, of course, developed examples like case studies. And a further reflection brought by Nimade here, who argued that collaborative and participatory work should go through language to ensure the decolonization of epistemologies. And for them, indigenous languages are more effective in connecting researchers with participants. And people considered sometimes illiterate, not only by people from the north, but also as sometimes, because they do not speak a formal colonial language, they are not knowledgeable to some of us. However, they have great insight in some of our preconceived conceptual frameworks. So it is precisely on this thought that this reflection is based, borrowing the term people who are coming home instead of people who are fleeing from the Mossi tribe in Burkina Faso. So the country faced an unprecedented surge of insecurity due to terrorism. And the country hit the record high of 2 billion IDPs as of March 2023, which is 1 out of 10 Burkina. And IDPs, of course, are defined, as we all know, as people who flee their homes by conflict, violence, persecution, or disasters, but stay within the borders of their own countries. and when the refugees, of course, has to cross the border. So, but before, what we are saying here is that before any governmental or international assistance to IDPs, the one organic selfless and primary assistance they received in the early days of their displacement by the host communities. And unfortunately, indigenous responses like this to crisis is overshadowed and marginalized by scientific community and practitioners. So basing her work on responses from the South and conflict-induced displacement in the Middle East and the Maghreb, Asmiye reflects on South-South collaboration, Southern institution and community responses, and according to her, the lack of an acknowledgement of Southern-led responses to displacements is related to Christian and Western origin and modern humanitarianism. So how did we approach the question? We used qualitative data collected during the field 1 2024, and that shows, of course, that communities developed a system of assistance to initial waves of IDPs way before governmental or international assistance. So what we found is that the contracted character of displacement as well as the discrimination within international humanitarian assistance slowly fractures this initial social cohesion between host communities and IDPs. So the qualitative data was collected using migration biographies for IDPs and semi-structured interviews for most communities. So we had a total of 63 migration biographies and semi-structured interviews. And we used purposes sampling as a technique to ensure diversity in terms of gender, education, and growth within the household and the community. And we subsequently did a small sampling to find the small initial number of participants and then ask them to refer as we see Tebkieta. And so it's Kaya, as I was saying, which is one of the most receiving region of IDPs in the country, and then the targeted IDPs that who live in what we call site. You don't say camps in Burkina, but I mean there are camps basically, and also IDPs that live outside camps, but also people from the host community. And with each population, we sought to achieve representativeness in terms of gender, age, occupation, place of residence, and so on. So the first and main finding here that I wanted to emphasize is that how people were calling IDPs, it went from Zwetna to Watma. So Zwetna means people who are fleeing, and Watma means people who are coming. And it was interesting to see how this calling of IDPs changed over time. That's what we are going to see here. So here I'm putting what one IDP told us. He said that life here in Kaya is really good. Since we came, there have been no disputes between us. The welcome was warm. It was as if we were from the same village, so everything is fine. Often you had nothing to eat, but if you go to your neighbor's house, you can eat. Would there be any better understanding than that? So these two quotes are from two people from the host community who said that when they arrived, some people had empty rooms and they gave them away. Others also gave them food for free. I myself gave them cooking pots. And another said, people here were generous. So I got a mistake here. Some people hosted them in their houses without knowing them. So this assistance came with the first days of Wheels of Ali is way before any international aid or any national aid. However, you can see that the more IDPs that were coming, the more assistance was coming from the international organization and from the national organization. And this assistance came and disrupted the organic assistance that was that was taking place in the city. So this one said, at some point, because my husband was sick and we had nothing to eat, I went to social services to ask for help. And I did receive help once. At another time, they made it clear to me that the food had not yet arrived once, twice, the same thing. In the meantime, the IDPs arrived and then told us that they will no longer be helping you for about only the IDPs. And this is the same one who gave her pots to the IDPs when they arrived first. So you can see how another assistance that's as of assist people that are vulnerable, creates more vulnerable people and then disrupt the initial assistance and then create some kind of threat to social cohesion in the communities. So I did some was very fast. So I'm just going to the conclusion now, because as we have just 10 minutes. So as we see here, the idea and the point I did before that is that you see that this evolution of how we got received, how they were welcoming at first of IDPs, and how this assistance from international NGOs just kind of create a threat to this cohesion, and that now this is how the term works. Can kind of be put. You can speak to someone, you can use the Watba and the Zoepa when she looks at how she perceives it. So if her kind of conditions evolve because of IDPs that were coming in disrupt, maybe she says Zoepa or instead of Papa, I can go further when we go to the discussion. So as a conclusion here, the idea was to center indigenous knowledge within the migration debates as they are formed that research subjects. And here, social sciences, social scientists, we have to appropriate research, and there must be a search for and a restoration of the needy groups by the epistemic subject who live there. And the present research shows that with selfless assistance, host community used to IDPs in the early days of displacement crisis in Brooklyn, in the same name of the saying that IDPs are coming cool and not fleeing from their home. So thank you very much.